When was the moment you realized that your best friend wasn't your best friend? When my girlfriend left me, my best friend at the time said, "It's cool, man." I ducked her. "You don't want trash like that in your life." He was right. This one's pretty wholesome. I'd have to say it's when he married his wife. I moved away for college and he stayed in state. He was still dating the woman who would later become his wife. We stayed in contact and everything. But distance is very hard for both of us. So staying in contact meant like a phone call every 4 months or so. I still think of him as my brother. And I was the best man at his wedding. And during the course of the wedding and reception. And especially the video by drone they took of the proposal, I realized he had made a new best friend. And now he was marrying her. They've been together for a little over a year now. When she told me my husband and I would make hideous babies because red-headed babies are the ugliest thing she has ever seen. She also locked me out of our hotel 4 hours from home with no way home at 3 AM that same day after an argument over her saying my husband kills people for a living. He is a chemist who works on developing chemotherapy. That was the last time I've spoken to her. 4 years ago. Such a jealous woman. Telling his brother after I had called to talk for a bit like we always did, "I told you to say I'm not home if Putis Panzer here called." Was upset, but it also clued me in to not waste time on that person anymore. Just told him not to worry and that I would talk to him later. Never did. Just left it at that. When he didn't invite me to his birthday party, I went over to drop off a present. Thinking he wasn't having a party, hadn't mentioned anything at school, and found him with his better friends. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. Doubled my karma. Also, don't be too mean please. It was 4th grade and he's not a terrible person. When he posted wedding photos on Facebook, I didn't know he was dating anyone. He was best man at my wedding. We had not much contact for a couple of years. But I still considered him my best friend. I heard about his wedding well after the fact. I have a group of friends from college. We did our student teaching together and we were close. A few years later, I invited them to my wedding and most of them came and had a good time. At this point, almost all of them are engaged or married. Guess how many weddings I've been invited to? 0. It ducking hurts. Our conversations were getting shorter and less intriguing. One day, I received great news and wanted to share it to my best friend. I then realized that they deleted and blocked me on Facebook. When they would talk and talk about themselves but never ask about me. This can be a tricky one. Especially if you're an introvert. It can seem like a full relationship because you learned so much about them. But later you finally realize they don't know a thing about you because they never ask or have to go when you start talking about yourself. Sucks to realize it. When she invited me out to dinner as a Christmas gift. And then when the check was dropped. Told me she actually couldn't treat BC, she had impulse bought her TTY boyfriend a plane ticket when she was drunk the evening before and therefore didn't have the $sign. Among other things. But this was the moment when I was really like, whoa. My friendship means nothing to her. When I got an internship at my dream job and she started to pull away more and more until 2 months went by and I realized she ignored most of my texts and Snapchats. After the internship I tried to contact her a few times thinking it was just a product of her being busy with graduation, me being in another state working crazy hours, but a mutual friend stepped in and told me she didn't want to be friends with me anymore. Semicolon. I considered her family. She decided I was very replaceable. It hurt a lot more considering we both used to bond over the fact that our childhoods were filled with best friends dumping us for more popular people. While they were driving, everyone decided they wanted to party. No one had money, so they suggested they should call Varvatus, he always has money. I was sitting in the back seat. I was like, I'm right here and I'm not in the mood to party tonight. When he ghosted me after I told him I had a tumor that ended up being cancerous. When she told me she doesn't like other girls except me cause she likes to be the prettiest girl in the room. My best friend of high school. Someone who I thought would be in my life for a long time started to hit on a girl that I was talking to. He would lie about me to change her opinion of me. And the best part is he never admitted to a thing. Maybe not that bad. But I felt really betrayed. Feeling betrayed is a side effect of betrayal. I found out she was uploading my art to a bad art blog. I only found out because she sent me 2 paragraphs telling me I was a horrible friend anonymously on Tumblr. Then when I went to her crying over it wondering who it was, she said it was her and then blocked me. I thought I could still fix things, but then I found the bad art blog with my art on it. And found out she was talking shitty about me to her other friends. I was only 15 and even though it's been years since it, I'm still ducked up by it in some ways. If you don't like someone, don't pretend to like them and make fun of them behind their backs. Just let them know you feel like you can't be friends anymore and distance yourself. Yeah, that will hurt in the short term, but it won't monumentally duck over someone's entire psyche as being fake will. When I invited her to hang out with me at the nearby lake for my birthday, she said she would get back to me. She never did. Instead, she posted on her Snapchat story about how much fun she was having with her other friends. I stopped talking to her after that. I have lived within 2 hours of him for the last 6 years and he has never come to visit me. Always me visiting him. Last straw, had a huge the 4th of July BBQ and invited him and he declined so he could go to a lake with strangers. Duck you, Rick. When my best friend had marriage troubles, I was there for him. All through his wife's infidelity, the divorce, and the custody battle. I testified on his behalf in court and he got custody of the kids. Fast forward 2 years later. When I find out my wife is cheating on me, he's not really interested in talking to me about it so much. And even acts like he's not home when I stop by for a visit. And no, he wasn't the one my wife was cheating with. He's a good dad and a fun guy to hang around with. But he's just not emotionally available to help other people out much. When she got ass-faced drunk at my son's, her godson's, wedding, trashed a hotel room, called me horrible names and punched me closed fist in the face. She ended up passed out on the grounds of the hotel. Came to and was arrested for trespassing because she refused to leave the premises. Days later, via email, blaming me because she didn't realize she was harboring so much animosity towards me. Bye bye. When we went out to eat and I offered her to pay, as usual, because she told me that she forgot her purse, she ordered loads of food and ate only half of it. After leaving, her shoelace was loose and she bent over to tie her shoe and a $100 bill was sticking out of her back pocket. She did this for 4 years and I never realized. Gave her another chance without saying a word. 3 days later I found out she was constantly using my Instagram to text my ex-boyfriend to end my current relationship. I think she never got slapped so hard. When he started spreading rumors that I was a duck boy that was going to shoot up the school despite me never having a girlfriend at that point and I'm extremely non-violent. When I opened up to her about my postpartum depression and she told me that she didn't have time for depression and it was weak. I was never vulnerable with her but I was dying inside. I needed someone and she had told me she didn't care. I began shutting her out then. When I realized she only wanted to receive support and kindness but never give it. She had a rough home life growing up and I always supported her through everything. I would drop what I was doing when she'd call me in tears to help her. Then I had my own rough patch that left me in a depressive rut. She was always too busy with her hobbies, not even actual work school, to even talk to me when I went seeking support. Would get angry when I sent simple "Are you free this weekend?" texts because it was too needy. This is also when I learned who my real best friend was because she saw what was happening. Told off this so-called friend. And gave me all the support I needed. Edit. OMG, this got way more attention than I thought it would. I'm so sorry to see this is such a common ordeal that people have gone through or going through. I wish everyone the best. We all deserve the support to get us through tough times. Best friends for a couple of years. We were in different classes. I wrote her a message that I'd be on my way to her. When I arrived she forgot to alt-tab the chat window with someone else making fun of me at the worst possible way. At that time she was my only friend. Was tough to have no friends after that for a long time. This might not sound like a lot but I think that scared me and I'm still struggling making friends. Edit. Holy shit. That wave of responses is just crazy. Thanks for everyone who's reaching out to me. Also, thanks for the silver kind stranger. My best friend was always complaining and making everything about herself. I met my boyfriend and moved cities so we could be together. Only after a while did I realize that I was feeling so relieved to stop catering to her needs. My senior year of high school. When the group of friends had inside jokes about me. They made a game of mentioning these jokes in front of me. When it finally got out I pretty much never talked to them again. After graduation. Never seen again. Best friend of 15 years. It all unraveled the night he told my cousin to kill herself. Tried to start a fight with multiple people at my house. And flipped off my mom. Edit. Yes. He was drunk at the time. No. I'm not reaching out to him. Disrespect to my family is an irredeemable offense in my eyes. He's out of my life completely now. Was gonna make a throwaway. But F that. Last year. He was in my town and ran into my son at a local store. My son. Does my dad know you are in town? Guy. No. He's an asshole. Now. I may be an asshole. But an asshole down a best friend now. When they said that I'm not funny and never have been. They said they only laughed at my jokes out of pity. They then said that no girl would ever like me and that I'm annoying. The thing about girls didn't hurt that bad but for some reason by them saying I wasn't funny really hurt. I gave this person way too many chances. When she would only have me come over so she could go to a concert. Because her parents liked me and let us go out. She stopped talking to me for a while but hit me because she was applying for a job and needed clean urine. We stopped talking again. Then she would call me to tell me she needed food and money for her son. And then bought drugs. I've stopped helping her. And she's no longer my best friend but I listen when she needs to talk and having a hard time. Do the man. That really sucks. I don't hate her. But I've set boundaries. I really hope she gets her life together. After years of giving me a hard time for eloping. Making me promise after my first divorce that if I marry again she must be invited. I invited her. She got her mom to babysit her kids. And then went to her ex-boyfriend's house to duck all weekend. Totally blowing off my wedding. My wedding was extremely small. Besides my daughter. She was my only invited guest. She showed me right there exactly how important I was to her. My co-worker was my best friend. Then she became my boss. In our final year of university after having a nearly identical schedule for our first 3 years. We took different electives to finish up our degree. Since we weren't seeing each other every day. We talked less and less. It's not just on him I didn't do enough either. But it kinda sucked realizing that our friendship wasn't going to last up to graduation. And obviously afterwards as well. When I found out she was sleeping with my boyfriend. Ducking bitch. Clearly she was a ducking bitch. After she told me my sexual assault was my fault. I ended that 5-year friendship right then and there. She started dating my rapist. When she called me a SLTWH Ray etc when her adult brother molested me. We were 12. When all the conversations had to be started by me. When I called him out on it his excuse was I'm very busy duck dude like the rest of us aren't. Not my best friend but an ex-friend of mine. Your best friend doesn't have depression. She just has those awful thoughts because she watches horror movies. Edit. Holy shit you guys. This blew up. Thanks for the support y'all. When we both tried to get in a frat. I didn't make it and he did which was cool BC we'd still hang out. That is until for the next month him and a few of his new frat pledges would throw food at me, and on at least 4 occasions I'd be blindsided on campus with them tipping me over. I'm in a wheelchair. They wore masks so I had no proof to anyone, but he was pretty big and I recognized his shoes. He'd then try to still hang around me and act like he never did anything. I didn't really figure it out till about the 3rd time when they tipped me over, and that's when I saw his shoes, confirming it. About a year later he randomly texted me saying how sorry he was for what he did and hoped we could be friends again, but by that time I could care less. Turns out he had gotten kicked out of the frat for drug use and now he couch surfs. He was asking for help from my other friends in school for a problem on his computer work. They suggested why not ask me for help since I sat next to him in class, and then replied I'm not asking him, he's ducking stupid, while I was right near him printing stuff out. I was so surprised I just pretended I didn't hear anything and went back to my desk. Didn't speak to him for a while after that. When he ducked my son's mother, who was also my girlfriend at the time, in my home while I was at work. Edited for clarity. I don't think I've ever actually had one, tbh. There always seems to be another friend that they're closer with than me. When my ex broke up with me and I was looking for people to talk to. Not a call. Not a message. Not a word about it from him while other friends were genuinely worried. Instead the guy just starts hanging out with my ex more. Not like I listened to all the shit you had going on and tried to help you through it. But oh well. When I found out she had been lying to everyone else that I was busy or something so I'd never be invited anywhere. 4 years straight. She was my only friend. I went to my boss asking why my best friend was promoted instead of me when I had been working longer and had a better work ethic. Boss told me that my friend had told her I wasn't interested in the promotion. My friend and I lived together and had talked about how nice it would be to get the promotion the previous week. When she completely cut off communication. One day we were hanging out. Next day. Nothing. I would text. Call. No responses. Best friend of 7 years fell in love with my fiance. When I told him I didn't want to be friends anymore and kicked him out of my life. My fiance left me for him. I'll be honest. I wanted to kill him and almost did. Stop following me around, I don't even know you. Ironically, this was actually how my best friend and I made a new friend in middle school. During recess, the two of us would just walk around and talk to each other because, you know, we were nerds and physical activity is overrated. One day, a girl just joined us and started following us around, listening but not saying much. Eventually we learned her name, and when she finally opened up more in high school, we all became really close friends. But for a while there she literally did nothing but silently follow us around. And we were just cool with that. For God knows what reason. She was a kind person. Smart as can be. A go-getter. Really down to earth. Just painfully shy in middle school. When we reminded her of that time, she just sort of shrugged her shoulders and said she was awkward. She didn't know why we put up with it. And we had a good laugh about it. We've since grown apart because of college and adult life taking us in different directions. But I still have extremely fond memories of that. It still makes me chuckle. Ordering me to help her with stuff. And there was once my two friends and I ordered drinks. Friend A forgot to get a straw. My best friend, which is friend B, just took my straw and passed to friend A and asked me to go and get another one for myself. I was so heartbroken. I would have started World War III over that straw right then and there. Every time she called me I would have to poop. Literally the sound of her voice would make my body want to expel waste. And this was before cell phones, so I had to do the poop dance in the hallway while trying to get off the phone with her. When she told me she didn't want to hang out because my toddler took up too much of my time and I was boring. Then she got knocked up and came to me crying about how hard everything is gonna be now that she's single and pregnant. She was the only person I had told about being sexually assaulted. When it eventually got out that there were other victims and I went to court, she refused to testify. Stayed friends with my abuser. And lied to people and said that I hadn't told her anything. I'm still too chicken to completely cut her off, but duck that. I took her to Vegas for her bachelorette party. I was the maid of honor. Everyone else bailed except for one other bridesmaid, so I drove us there from AZ. She said she didn't care what we did, so I got us hooked up with a table that night to see Dilly and Francis, and we spent the day at a pool party beforehand. We took a nap in the room before that night and she apparently got locked out of the room, which was in her name, but never called either of us who were sleeping. When I visited my friend of 25 years, best man, etc. He got violently drunk and attempted to strangle me in front of his screaming family while I begged for life and that my daughters would not be orphans. Because I didn't want to be grabbed. This happened 14 hours ago. When I noticed the pattern of love bombing, showing no regard for my time, and only coming to me when she needed me to do something for her, I started noticing I didn't feel good while around her. And she was constantly trying to change me. I don't blame her. And I feel bad because I know she has a hard time keeping friends. But I feel like it's because she's trying way too hard. When I told her I was moving in with my boyfriend in a different state, she screamed and swore at me. Busted into my room at my home while I was talking to my boyfriend on Discord, so he heard the whole thing, saying he would probably pay and kill me. Or just dump me on the street when we would eventually break up. We still live together. And she got over it, but it hasn't been the same since. When after my mom passed, I made the conscious choice to only be happy around her because she let me know on several occasions she didn't like dealing with other people's feelings and I didn't want to burden her. And then a few months later she told me she couldn't be my friend any longer with no explanation while we were living together, and she knew I wasn't able to move out for a few months longer. She instantly stopped speaking to me unless it was a rude comment and wouldn't eat anything I cooked. Cooking was therapeutic for me and I loved doing it for her and her family. Still have no explanation on the why she no longer wanted to be friends after 10 years. But I am marrying her brother in the fall and he's the most amazing thing to have ever happened to me. So there's that.